From Sticky Chicken Productions, introducing Coxey's Army, a petition in Boots, the Commonwealers of 1894, and their March on Washington. In the 1880s and 90s, Butte, Montana emerged as a vibrant industrial hub, rivaling major cities like San Francisco and New York. This bustling metropolis was a microcosm of the changing American West. However, the optimism of the era was shattered by the Silver Panic, which was a catastrophic economic downturn that left 50% of miners in Montana unemployed. Amidst this chaos, Ohio businessman Jacob Coxey rallied the disenfranchised, urging a nationwide march on Washington, D.C. to demand public works programs and relief for the jobless. This call to action marked the genesis of the American labor movement and the first organized march on the nation's capital by the people. It is estimated that over 200,000 Americans participated in the marches, and the movement caused great concern among the authorities and an avalanche of newspaper headlines across the country. Our narrative unfolds with the Butte contingent, a ragtag assembly of over 800 unemployed miners living in makeshift tents on the outskirts of the city. As tensions simmered between local authorities and the Coxeyites, the governor, mayor, and ultra-rich copper kings devised a plan to disperse the camp, fearing unrest. A twist of fate led to a clandestine agreement, allowing the miners to, quote, borrow a train for their journey to D.C. Under the cover of night, they commandeered a freight train, deftly evading the authorities and setting off on a daring adventure. As the train raced through Montana, the Coxeyites garnered support from sympathetic townsfolk who showered them with supplies and encouragement. Their journey was punctuated by challenges, including a cave-in at the Big Timber Tunnel, which they cleared with sheer determination, and then replaced the blockage, as they had been instructed to leave all equipment as they had found it. Each stop along the way transformed into a rallying point, where speeches were made and the plight of the unemployed was passionately articulated. However, the federal authorities were not idle. A relentless pursuit ensued, led by Federal Marshal McDermott, who sought to reclaim the stolen train. The chase culminated in a dramatic confrontation in Forsyth, where the Coxeyites were ultimately surrounded and arrested by U.S. troops. Over 350 men were arrested. They were all sent to Helena and housed in a makeshift camp at the fairgrounds. Hogan and two of his lieutenants were sentenced to 90 days. The rest were set free. Eventually, the merchants of Helena, tiring of the camp, paid for cheap boats to be built at Fort Benton, and the men floated the Missouri and joined other groups on the way to Washington. About 80 Montana marchers made the entire journey. Despite the setbacks, the spirit of the movement endured. Though only a fraction of the original marchers reached Washington, the legacy of Coxey's Army resonated throughout the labor movement, inspiring future generations. The story of these determined miners, their audacious train heist, and their quest for dignity and work encapsulates a pivotal moment in American history, where the struggle for workers' rights began to take shape against the backdrop of economic upheaval and social change. The Montana contingent of Coxey's Army is only one story in the myriad of the entire saga. We seek to develop Hogan's Ride as a separate one-hour documentary, and upon its success, develop the entire Coxey's Army saga into a 5 or 6 episode miniseries.